describe my DC layout and the switches involved. I have three main tracks on this layout, and I have two grandchildren, so I wanted each of them to have a controller they could use, although they still fuss about who's running which one. This one on the right controls the two outside tracks, what I call track A and track B. Has power on, power off for each of the tracks, so you could run the controller and stop one track or the other one. There's only really one switch off the main track that's going to the B track here. These two are future expansions. Down here on the end I've got some expansions if I want to add another section. And the B track, these here, you can go from B to C, the inside track, or you can go from B to A or B to C. There's two ways to get to C. One is on the over next to the wall. On the C inside track, there's one switch that gets you over to B. That's the only switch to go over to the main tracks. Uses a controller for only runs the C track, the inside track, and then runs all the switches. This is where I can turn off the C track if I wanted to. These are the power controls for the side switches over by the warehouse and the feed mill, and so you can park locomotives over there and turn them on and off. This lower power control is for the switches, side switches here on the front part of the track, over the siding in front of the Railroad Express, and also up by the oil tankers, which originally was going to be the where I parked the locomotives, but I decided to use the oil tank as an oil tank area. It's pretty much the way the layout. Each of the tracks where they connect and switch over, you can see the plastic. I put plastic in between each of the main tracks on both sides, and the ones that on the switching tracks, I just used the plastic on one side because they're all off the C track. Each of the main lines has two power wires kind of on opposite ends of the table. Like this is the one power feed for the outside track, and then over directly across from it, over in that corner over there, there'll be a second one running through the power control. So I tried to get power to each end of the track to keep it strong, and it seems to work pretty good. As long as the wheels on the locomotives are clean, and I clean my old brass track once in a while, seems to work pretty good. A lot of this track is at least 30 and up to 60 years old, from when I was 10 years old or my son was 10 years old. And now my grandchildren are getting big enough to use it, although they just want to race them around the track. It's not really a fair race because the outside track is longer than the inside track, and they kind of fuss about losing. And so they're not really too interested in it. I think they're more interested in their video games, their generation. I'm 70 years old, and I think HO railroads were the thing to have when I was a kid, although mine was just a little small circle when I first got it. nowadays, you know, kids have Xboxes and all the other technology, so I don't think model railroading has a whole lot of appeal to the younger generation. I built this table in my garage. I put it on hinges so I could fold it up, take the main buildings off, and you can see the door hinges. There's just 3 door hinges on here right now. They're disconnected, so I can move it around. You can't reach across a 4-foot sheet of plywood, so I've put legs on the bottom that rolled around. Those are mostly for tool cabinets, I think, just for the way they were advertised, but they work great on this table where I can just pull it and move it around. If I have to get back in the back side to work on it, or if something stops over there or derails, and I pull it out from the wall and work on it, push it back. It doesn't slide around. It's heavy enough that it stays where it's supposed to be. You see the rope up on the side of the wall where I tie it up when I close it up. I only closed it up last winter. Most of the time I just put a piece of plastic over it to keep it from getting too dusty. Let me back up a little bit here and show you what it looks like. Got my car here in the garage. I only have 1 car and 2-car garage, so plenty of room to do it. When I fold it up, the legs are bolted on, so all I have to do is unbolt them at the top of the leg. And I got an attic above the garage here that I put the legs in when I want to close it up. But like I said, right now it stays down. I have to paint some clouds on here. I've been watching some YouTube videos on how to paint clouds, and several ways to do it. I just have to go ahead and do it. But anyway, I just want to share my old DC equipment and layout. And in the future, I'm considering converting to DCC and get some engines that have horns and whistles and all that stuff. But that's a few dollars that I don't really want to spend right now. So anyway, just thought I'd share what I've got.